Hi, welcome back to the second half of the OHMazing Way podcast. I'm Beth Reese, your host, and I'm here today with the super fantastic She-Ra, yogi of all trades, Jodi Smith. Jodi, thanks so much for being here. And in the first half, we were talking about how your doctor prescribed yoga for you, how you very quickly knew you wanted to be a yoga instructor. And we just dove right into talking about implicit bias and ways that you take on in helping your yoga classes be inclusive and diverse and welcome people, and that maybe some tips others can take on. So speaking of tips that other people can take on, you have in your years, there's some ways that you practice yoga off the mat in terms of taking care of yourself, others in the universe, and particularly taking care of yourself. What are some tools, tips that you have for self-care?
I'm big on a ritual I do that involves baths. And it's almost cliche when people talk about self-care and it's like taking a bubble bath. It's not like that, but it's similar to it. So I teach about 6 classes a day, every day. And that's a lot of children, a lot of bodies, a lot of touching, a lot of hugging, a lot of speaking. So the energy that I give out compared to others, I say I'm on the line of like with a teacher or a caregiver. Like that's just a lot of energy that you're giving out on a daily basis. So I look for ways to kind of replenish myself. So with my self-care around taking a bath, it is my way, one, to wash off energetically, mentally wash off the day. And I think that's important for me as an educator to remind myself is you do not take yesterday's issues into your classroom tomorrow. Like you let it go. And for me, the water with a lot of Epsom salt and sea salt, oils, I burn a lot of sage, is my reminder to wash away what had happened, let it go, and be ready and clear for the next day. Because I have to give the students my best every day. Yeah. And then I also have to make sure that I have something for myself. So that washing and that cleansing it's a very mental and a spiritual ritual for myself to do.
Beautiful. And I think it's so important. And part of what I hear you saying is like scheduling.
Yes.
Scheduling and committing to and prioritizing that time to be with the self and exhale the day and, both literally and figuratively, and then really start to set the intention for the next day. That's part of what I hear you describing.
Yeah, because part of my goal or my purpose with teaching yoga to children is to show them that an adult can be different with you. Meaning, kids are stressful. I can't lie. I love them, but I'm like, I get it. I understand. And when I see parents, I get it. I have probably more empathy and compassion for parents. And I'm not one, but I understand. But I also know that when your frustration comes up and you don't have all the tools on how to react, it comes out differently. You're very reactive. It could be ignoring the child. It could be yelling. It could be being dismissive. It's like, go to your room, don't talk. Here's a tablet, go sit down, go to bed. So my goal in that ritual is reminding myself, be different. You're clear. Be different with the children. Because I want them to see that adults can do different things. And if the children can connect my mindfulness practice, my yoga practice, my breathing, as Miss Smith is calm because she does these things, maybe if my mom learned these things or my dad learned these things, then they could be calm. And that's why I have to model it and do the best work I can to remind myself I'm trying to show the children a different model.
Yeah, and Jodi, what are some of the tools that you are bringing to the children, and maybe as you share them here, can other parents and teachers can take them on? But maybe what's one or two of the practices that you teach the children that seem to be really effective?
Oh, okay. Well, there's this one, you may have heard of it. It's called Flower Power.
Let me think.
And why I shout it out for you and for your listeners, I'm sure you're going to hear about Flower Power, but it is a gift that Beth created and shared with her trainees and has her mission to share it with the world. Within what, 5 years or 5 months? Yeah.
Yeah, like Flower Power by 5, and just the idea, as you said, for all kids around the world to know Flower Power breath by the time we're 5. So listeners, you all have to help us with this too, but go ahead,
Yeah.
Jodi.
So why I like that is because it's connecting breath and movement. Children are stretching up, breathing, they're visualizing picking up flowers, they're smelling and actually stimulating their brain to imagine the smell. They're using imagery to say, oh wow, my flower is blue. So it's all these little academic and brain stuff going on, a very simple breath, and the children love it. It is their way to pause, and it is their way to create their own peaceful space.
Awesome. Thank you for the shout out.
Oh, you're welcome. Keep in mind that a lot of my children have no access to a garden or to beautiful flowers. They've seen them, they know what they look like, but for me, when we do it, it's like, this is your garden. Pick them all up, smell them, and they enjoy it. So that is one of the tools that I use for the students. And I tell them, you can do this anywhere. Another thing that we do is called Calm Hat, where it may have been you or another teacher, just putting your hands on your head and just like compression. I try this with my kinders, and I actually have a few kinders who are my designated Calm Hat callers. So when they know the students are acting up in the cafeteria, you hear a child say, Calm Hat, and all the kids.
I love that. And that ripple effect. Wow.
Oh, yeah. They take this job serious.
That's right. That's right.
And they tell me, they're like, Miss Smith, they didn't put on their calm hats. We should have put on our calm hats. I said, yeah, you should have. Okay.
Oh, great reflection. You know, what you could do differently next time. Awesome. So, so Jodi, in addition to teaching at the school, which you do full time, probably 10 months out of the year, you also somehow have managed to find the time to create your own beautiful kids yoga program called Mosaic Kids. So in the show notes, we'll have information on how you can find Jodi and Mosaic Kids Yoga. Would you tell us a little bit about your passion and interest in starting that program?
Sure. So as a first year yoga teacher in a school, I didn't have many resources to begin. And that's how I found Beth, because I was searching, what do I do? What do I do with these children? As an adult yoga teacher, I went in under the assumption that teaching kids would be just like teaching adults, and that of course they know what these poses mean. And I was quickly schooled that that's not how children think and learn. So I instead of me kind of taking my learning curve as like a bad experience, I said, if I want to help other teachers, let me start to document what I'm learning, share my thoughts, possibly share lessons, ideas, and just create a community of other yoga teachers who want to go into urban schools. And also give them my perspectives of what I've learned about diversity and inclusion and in my experiences. What I did find is yoga teachers who do want to teach in schools have the best intentions again, but yet I've seen the evidence of the implicit bias or the burnout a lot quicker. Now, I'm about to be on my third year, and I've kind of surpassed that burnout peak, and now I'm kind of coasting.
Yes,
I
air
wanted
quotes.
yeah, coasting, because the year ain't started yet, so we'll see. So I just felt like I wanted to be more of a resource to aspiring yoga teachers. I wanted to be a resource to educators who had questions about yoga in schools and how I integrate it with academics and social emotional learning. And also for parents, letting them know, if you want to see what your children are learning, go to my website. You'll see kind of clips and pictures about what I'm doing. So it's to serve as a resource and a guide, um, advice, my thoughts on what it's like teaching. The angle of why Mosaic goes from my love of mosaic art. I've always loved the puzzles and epically of those little shards of color being put together to create something beautiful. And that's how I looked at my students. They're so diverse. 99% are children of color from Asia, Africa, Latin America, all over the world, and they've come with their own experiences, and getting to know them and hearing their stories inspired me to look at my yoga practice and like, how can I weave their stories, use their stories to tell yoga lessons, talk about yoga philosophy, talk about ethics and morals and how we can work together. Right now, I'm on this mission to do a better job at integrating social emotional learning with my yoga practice. So I'm currently working on my certification in social emotional learning at Rutgers and social justice. I just finished my training with teaching tolerance. And social justice is huge for my students. We love talking about current events, but I want to find a way that we can talk about character development and empowering our voices to make a change. So that's my goal. And I want to share that also on my Mosaic page as well. Yeah, I got a lot of work ahead of me. But it's good work. It's good work. I think it speaks to the legacy that the doctor had given me. She gave me the voice to help me identify what was really going on, and then it empowered me to start making better choices and decisions.
I love that. And then here you are paying it forward
Yeah.
to youth, to teachers, to parents, administrators. It's such important work, such important work. Well, Jodi, I would love for you to come back as you dive into your school year and have, more experiences and tips and techniques to share with us. Would you be willing to do that? Come back?
Of course. I would love to.
Awesome.
I just, again, my goal is to provide resource, advice, and guide other people in this important work. There's so many children and families and communities that need yoga teachers who care and want to push our work outside of the studio and into off the mat into the world. So I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you. And for everyone listening today, thank you so much for being here with us. And as always, there'll be information in the show notes about how to get a hold of Jodi and about what she's up to. And please share what you've learned today with other people, pay it forward, and be sure to subscribe. And as always, be amazing. Thank you. See you next time.